A Happiness Quote Guide. Chapter 1. A Happiness Quote Guide. Happiness quotes at ponb.com/true-happiness-quotes. A happy person is not a person in a certain set of circumstances, but rather a person with a certain set of attitudes. Hugh Downs. All seasons are beautiful for the person who carries happiness within. Horace Freese. Be happy in the moment, that's enough. Each moment is all we need, not more. Mother Teresa. Be happy with what you have and are, be generous with both, and you won't have to hunt for happiness. William E. Gladstone. Every moment that's ever been, or ever will be, is gone the instant it's begun. So life is a loss. And the secret of happiness is to learn to love the moment more than you mourn the loss. Dan Baker. Grudges are a waste of perfect happiness. Laugh when you can. Apologize when you should and let go of what you can't change. Drake. Happiness is surrounding yourself only with those who bestow their unconditional love and support. Ken Poirot. Happiness is the consequence of personal effort. You fight for it, strive for it, insist upon it, and sometimes even travel around the world looking for it. You have to participate relentlessly in the manifestations of your own blessings. And once you have achieved a state of happiness, you must never become lax about maintaining it. You must make a mighty effort to keep swimming upward into that happiness forever, to stay afloat on top of it. Elizabeth Gilbert. Happiness cannot be traveled to, owned, earned, worn or consumed. Happiness is the spiritual experience of living every minute with love, grace, and gratitude. Dennis Waitley. Happiness is wanting what you have. Phyllis Reynolds Naylor. Happiness is a choice that requires effort at times. Anon. Happiness is a form of courage. Holbrook Jackson. Happiness is not a station you arrive at, but a manner of traveling. Margaret Lee Runbeck. Happiness is excitement that has found a settling down place. But there is always a little corner that keeps flapping around. E. L. Königsberg. Happiness is when what you think, what you say, and what you do are in harmony. Mahatma Gandhi. Happiness, true happiness, is an inner quality. It is a state of mind. If your mind is at peace, you are happy. If your mind is at peace, but you have nothing else, you can be happy. If you have everything the world can give, pleasure, possessions, power, but lack peace of mind, you can never be happy. Dada Vaswani. Happiness is like a butterfly which, when pursued, is always beyond our grasp, but which, if you will sit down quietly, may alight upon you. Nathaniel Hawthorne. Happiness is not something ready-made. It comes from your own actions. The Dalai Lama. Happiness starts within us. It always has been. Happiness cannot find a home in a heart that does not understand hope and acceptance. Happy is the man who can endure the highest and lowest fortune. He who has endured such vicissitudes with equanimity has deprived misfortune of its power. Seneca. Health is not just the absence of a disease. It's an inner joyfulness that should be ours all the time, a state of positive well-being. Deepak Chopra. How we feel about ourselves, the joy we get from living, ultimately depends directly on how the mind filters and interprets everyday experiences. Whether we are happy depends on inner harmony, not on the controls we are able to exert over the great forces of the universe. Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi. If what you call happiness are the pleasurable feelings that you experience when things are going very well in your life, then you truly don't know what true happiness is. Edmund Mbayaka. If you are looking for true happiness, you have to change your level of consciousness and deepness of awareness. Debsi Shmridha. It's not how much we have, but how much we enjoy that makes happiness. Unknown. Joy comes not through possession or ownership but through a wise and loving heart. Gautama Buddha. Learn to be your own best friend first, then you will find true happiness, because happiness is from within. Gift Gugumona. Many persons have a wrong idea of what constitutes true happiness. It is not attained through self-gratification but through fidelity to a worthy purpose. Helen Keller. Most folks are as happy as they make up their minds to be. Abraham Lincoln. Only those who seek within, get to discover their true unconditional happiness. Edmund Mbayaka. Opening a dark box can make you very unhappy. But for the love of truth, never hesitate even a second to open it, because the truth is the way to true happiness. Mehmet Murat Ilden. Peace is something like happiness. You cannot say I will be happy when, and you can't say I will be peaceful when. Your happiness shouldn't depend on the situation you're in nor on the circumstances that surround you. In the same breath, you cannot wait for everything around you to become peaceful in order for you to say, I am peaceful. In both happiness and peace, there is a heart of strength, determination, and steadfastness, a heart that has the power to make things happen. You have to be at peace. You have to be happy. Now. C. Joy Bell C. Realize that true happiness lies within you. Waste no time and effort searching for peace and contentment and joy in the world outside. Remember that there is no happiness in having or in getting, but only in giving. Reach out. Share. Smile. Hug. Happiness is a perfume you cannot pour on others without getting a few drops on yourself. Ogmandino. Rules for happiness: something to do, someone to love, something to hope for. Immanuel Kant. Seeking external validation brings disappointment. Validate yourself from within to find true happiness. Amy Lee McCree. Since you alone are responsible for your thoughts, only you can change them. You will want to change them when you realize that each thought creates according to its own nature. Remember that the law works at all times and that you are always demonstrating according to the kind of thoughts you habitually entertain. Therefore, start now to think only those thoughts that will bring you health and happiness. Paramahansa Yogananda. Sometimes we must undergo hardships, breakups, and narcissistic wounds, which shatter the flattering image that we had of ourselves, in order to discover two truths: that we are not who we thought we were, and that the loss of a cherished pleasure is not necessarily the loss of true happiness and well-being. Jean-Yves Leloup. Success is not the key to happiness. Happiness is the key to success. If you love what you are doing, you will be successful. Albert Schweitzer. Success is how you collect your minutes. You spend millions of minutes to reach one triumph, one moment, and then you spend maybe 1,000 minutes enjoying it. If you were unhappy through those millions of minutes, what good is the 1,000 minutes of triumph? It doesn't equate. Life is made of small pleasures. Good eye contact over the breakfast table with your wife. A moment of touching a friend. Happiness is made of those tiny successes. The big ones come too infrequently. If you don't have all those zillions of tiny successes, the big ones don't mean anything. Norman Lear. The secret of happiness is to admire without desiring. Carl Sandburg. The less you want, the richer you are. The more you need in order to be happy, the more miserable you'll be. Yanni. The value of a smile: it costs nothing but creates much. It enriches those who receive, without impoverishing those who give. It happens in a flash and the memory of it sometimes lasts forever. None are so rich they can get along without it, and none so poor but are richer for its benefits. It creates happiness in the home, fosters goodwill in a business, and is the countersign of friends. Dale Carnegie. The really happy person is one who can enjoy the scenery when on a detour. Unknown. The road to happiness lies in two simple principles: find what it is that interests you and that you can do well, and when you find it, put your whole soul into it, every bit of energy and ambition and natural ability you have. John D. Rockefeller 3. The foolish man seeks happiness in the distance, the wise grows it under his feet. James Oppenheim. The best remedy for those who are afraid, lonely, or unhappy is to go outside, somewhere where they can be quiet, alone with the heavens, nature, and God. Because only then does one feel that all is as it should be and that God wishes to see people happy, amidst the simple beauty of nature. And Frank, the basic thing is that everyone wants happiness, no one wants suffering. And happiness mainly comes from our own attitude, rather than from external factors. If your own mental attitude is correct, even if you remain in a hostile atmosphere, you feel happy. The Dalai Lama. The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. Marcus Aurelius. There is only one cause of unhappiness, the false beliefs you have in your head, beliefs so widespread, so commonly held, that it never occurs to you to question them. Anthony de Mello. There are no happier people on this planet than those who decide that they want something, define what they want, get hold of the feeling of it even before its manifestation and then joyously watch the unfolding as, piece by piece, it begins to unfold. That's the feeling of your hands in the clay. Esther Hicks. There is no duty we so much underrate as the duty of being happy. By being happy we sow anonymous benefits upon the world. Robert Louis Stevenson. There is only one way to happiness, and that is to cease worrying about things which are beyond the power of our will. Epictetus. True happiness arises, in the first place, from the enjoyment of one's self, and in the next, from the friendship and conversation of a few select companions. Joseph Addison. True happiness for human beings is possible only to those who develop their godlike potentialities to the utmost. Bertrand Russell. True happiness cannot be achieved through wealth, fame, or action, but through love, modesty, and self-satisfaction. Moulad Benzaidi. True happiness comes from the joy of deeds well done, the zest of creating things new. Antoine de Saint-Exupéry. True happiness starts in the core of our true selves as a constant, a guidepost, a default, and a strength that shines from the inside out. Elena Marie. True happiness is, to enjoy the present, without anxious dependence upon the future. Lucius Annius Seneca. Trust yourself. Create the kind of self that you will be happy to live with all your life. Make the most of yourself by fanning the tiny, inner sparks of possibility into flames of achievement. Golda Meir. Ultimately, happiness comes down to choosing between the discomfort of becoming aware of your mental afflictions and the discomfort of being ruled by them. Yanji Minjai Urinpoche. We tend to forget that happiness doesn't come as a result of getting something we don't have, but rather of recognizing and appreciating what we do have. Frederick Koenig. We should practice by showing one another love and helping one another. It is a mistake to pursue happiness and to seek to avoid suffering by deceiving and humiliating other people. We must try to achieve happiness and eliminate suffering by being good-hearted and well-behaved. The Dalai Lama. When we understand clearly that inner peace is the real source of happiness, and how, through spiritual practice, we can experience progressively deeper levels of inner peace, we will develop tremendous enthusiasm to practice. Geshe Kelsang Gyatso. When you're happy for no reason, you bring happiness to your outer experiences rather than trying to extract happiness from them. You don't need to manipulate the world around you to try to make yourself happy. You live from happiness, rather than for happiness. Marcy Shimoff. When you discover true happiness, you will find that you are wealthier beyond the dreams of kings. Jeffrey Fry. You have to believe in happiness, or happiness never comes. Douglas Malik. Happiness quotes at keepinspiring.me/quotes about happiness. A great obstacle to happiness is to expect too much happiness. Bernard de Fontenelle. A truly happy person is one who can enjoy the scenery while on a detour. A truly happy person is one who can enjoy the scenery while on a detour. Unknown. All happiness depends on courage and work. Honoré de Balzac. All happiness or unhappiness solely depends upon the quality of the object to which we are attached by love. Baruch Spinoza. As people spin faster and faster in the pursuit of merely personal happiness, they become exhausted in the futile effort of chasing themselves. Andrew Delbanco. Ask yourself whether you are happy and you cease to be so. John Stuart Mill. Be happy. It's one way of being wise. Colette. Be happy for this moment. This moment is your life. Omar Khayyam. Be happy with what you have. Be excited about what you want. Alan Cohen. Can anything be so elegant as to have few wants, and to serve them oneself? Ralph Waldo Emerson. Cheerfulness is what greases the axles of the world. Don't go through life creaking. H.W. Biles. Chinese proverb: one joy scatters 100 griefs. Don't waste your time in anger, regrets, worries, and grudges. Life is too short to be unhappy. Roy T. Bennett. Even a happy life cannot be without a measure of darkness, and the word happy would lose its meaning if it were not balanced by sadness. It is far better to take things as they come along with patience and equanimity. Carl Jung. Even a happy life cannot be without a measure of darkness, and the word happy would lose its meaning if it were not balanced by sadness. It is far better to take things as they come along with patience and equanimity. Carl Jung. Finnish happiness proverb: happiness is a place between too much and too little. Folks are usually about as happy as they make their minds up to be. Abraham Lincoln. For every minute you are angry, you lose 60 seconds of happiness. Ralph Waldo Emerson. Give a man health and a course to steer, and he'll never stop to trouble about whether he's happy or not. George Bernard Shaw. Happiness is the natural flower of duty. Phillips Brooks. Happiness is an accident of nature, a beautiful and flawless aberration. Pat Conroy. Happiness is the resultant of the relative strengths of positive and negative feelings rather than an absolute amount of one or the other. Norman Bradburn. Happiness is not something ready-made. It comes from your own actions. Dalai Lama. Happiness is holding someone in your arms and knowing you hold the whole world. Orhan Pamuk. Happiness is not being pained in body or troubled in mind. Thomas Jefferson. Happiness is your dentist telling you it won't hurt and then having him catch his hand in the drill. Johnny Carson. Happiness cannot be traveled to, owned, earned, worn or consumed. Happiness is the spiritual experience of living every minute with love, grace, and gratitude. Dennis Waitley. Happiness is the default state. It's what's there when you remove the sense that something is missing in life. Naval Ravikant. Happiness is being content with what you have, living in freedom and liberty, having a good family life and good friends. Divyanka Tripathi. Happiness consists more in conveniences of pleasure that occur every day than in great pieces of good fortune that happen but seldom. Benjamin Franklin. Happiness is a conscious choice, not an automatic response. Mildred Barthel. Happiness grows at our own firesides, and is not to be picked in strangers' gardens. Douglas Gerald. Happiness is excitement that has found a settling down place. But there is always a little corner that keeps flapping around. E.L. Königsberg. Happiness is always the serendipitous result of looking for something else. Dr. Idell Dreamer. Happiness in this world, when it comes, comes incidentally. Make it the object of pursuit, and it leads us a wild goose chase, and is never attained. Nathaniel Hawthorne. Happiness is always a byproduct. It is probably a matter of temperament, and for anything I know it may be glandular. But it is not something that can be demanded from life, and if you are not happy you had better stop worrying about it and see what treasures you can pluck from your own brand of unhappiness. Robertson Davies. Happiness makes up in height for what it lacks in length. Robert Frost. Happiness always looks small while you hold it in your hands, but let it go, and you learn at once how big and precious it is. Maxim Gorky. Happiness is not a goal, it is a byproduct. Eleanor Roosevelt. Happiness is a well-balanced combination of love, labor, and luck. Mary Wilson Little. Happiness lies in the joy of achievement and the thrill of creative effort. Franklin D. Roosevelt. Happiness is like a butterfly which, when pursued, is always beyond our grasp, but, if you will sit down quietly, may alight upon you. Nathaniel Hawthorne. Happiness is not an ideal of reason, but of imagination. Immanuel Kant. Happiness is the experience of loving life. Being happy is being in love with that momentary experience. And love is looking at someone or even something and seeing the absolute best in him/her or it. Love is happiness with what you see. So love and happiness really are the same thing, just expressed differently. Robert McPhillips. Happiness is a place between too much and too little. Finnish proverb. Happiness is the interval between periods of unhappiness. Don Marquis. Happiness is having a large, loving, caring, close-knit family in another city. George Burns. Happiness is when what you think, what you say, and what you do are in harmony. Mahatma Gandhi. Happiness is a constant work in progress, because solving problems is a constant work in progress. The solutions to today's problems will lay the foundation for tomorrow's problems, and so on. True happiness occurs only when you find the problems you enjoy having and enjoy solving. Mark Manson. Happiness is a byproduct of an effort to make someone else happy. Greta Brooker Palmer. Happiness consists more in conveniences of pleasure that occur every day than in great pieces of good fortune that happen but seldom. Benjamin Franklin. Happiness depends upon ourselves. Aristotle. Happiness and sadness run parallel to each other. When one takes a rest, the other one tends to take up the slack. Hazel Marie Elliott. Happiness is not a state to arrive at, but a manner of traveling. Margaret Lee Runbeck. Happiness is a form of courage. Holbrook Jackson. Happiness is a function of accepting what is. Werner Erhard. Happiness is not something you postpone for the future, it is something you design for the present. Jim Rohn. Happiness is a direction, not a place. Sidney J. Harris. Happiness is a matter of one's most ordinary and everyday mode of consciousness being busy and lively and unconcerned with self. Iris Murdoch. Happiness is distraction from the human tragedy. J.M. Rianiso. Happiness is the meaning and the purpose of life, the whole aim and end of human existence. Aristotle. Happiness is not a goal, it is a byproduct. Eleanor Roosevelt. Happiness is when what you think, what you say, and what you do are in harmony. Mahatma Gandhi. Happiness is a state of activity. Aristotle. Happiness lies in the joy of achievement and the thrill of creative effort. Franklin Roosevelt. Happiness is only real when shared. John Krakauer. Happiness is an inside job. William Arthur Ward. Happiness is where we find it, but very rarely where we seek it. J. Petit Sen. Happy girls are the prettiest. Audrey Hepburn. He who lives in harmony with himself lives in harmony with the universe. Marcus Aurelius. How simple it is to see that we can only be happy now, and there will never be a time when it is not now. Gerald Jampolsky. I think the key to life is just being a happy person, and happiness will bring you success. Diego Val. I have only two kinds of days, happy and hysterically happy. Alan J. Leffert Inc. I must learn to be content with being happier than I deserve. Jane Austen, Pride and Prejudice. If there were in the world today any large number of people who desired their own happiness more than they desired the unhappiness of others, we could have a paradise in a few years. Bertrand Russell. If you want happiness for an hour, take a nap. If you want happiness for a day, go fishing. If you want happiness for a year, inherit a fortune. If you want happiness for a lifetime, help someone else. Chinese proverb. If a person's basic state of mind is serene and calm, then it is possible for this inner peace to overwhelm a painful physical experience. On the other hand, If someone is suffering from depression, anxiety, or any form of emotional distress, then even if he or she happens to be enjoying physical comforts, he will not really be able to experience the happiness that these could bring. Tenzin Gyatso, 14th Dalai Lama. If you want happiness for an hour, take a nap. If you want happiness for a day, go fishing. If you want happiness for a month, get married. If you want happiness for a year, inherit a fortune. If you want happiness for a lifetime, help someone else. Chinese proverb. If you want to be happy, be. Leo Tolstoy. If you observe a really happy man, you will find him building a boat, writing a symphony, educating his son, growing double dahlias in his garden, or looking for dinosaur eggs in the Gobi Desert. He will not be searching for happiness as if it were a collar button that has rolled under the radiator. He will not be striving for it as a goal in itself. He will have become aware that he is happy in the course of living life 24 crowded hours of the day. W. Baron Wolf. If you want others to be happy, practice compassion. If you want to be happy, practice compassion. Dalai Lama. If you look to others for fulfillment, you will never be fulfilled. If your happiness depends on money, you will never be happy with yourself. Be content with what you have, rejoice in the way things are. When you realize there is nothing lacking, the world belongs to you. Lao Tzu. If you are not happy here and now, you never will be. Tenzin Deshimaru. If only we'd stop trying to be happy, we could have a pretty good time. Edith Wharton. If you want to be happy, set a goal that commands your thoughts, liberates your energy, and inspires your hopes. Andrew Carnegie. If only we'd stop trying to be happy, we could have a pretty good time. Edith Wharton. In order to have great happiness, you have to have great pain and unhappiness, otherwise how would you know when you're happy? Leslie Caron. In my life I've learned that true happiness comes from giving. Helping others along the way makes you evaluate who you are. I think that love is what we're all searching for. I haven't come across anyone who didn't become a better person through love. Marla Gibbs. Indeed, man wishes to be happy even when he so lives as to make happiness impossible. Saint Augustine. It is not how much we have, but how much we enjoy, that makes happiness. Charles Spurgeon. It is not how much we have, but how much we enjoy, that makes happiness. It isn't what you have or who you are or where you are or what you are doing that makes you happy or unhappy. It is what you think about it. Dale Carnegie. It isn't what you have or who you are or where you are or what you are doing that makes you happy or unhappy. It is what you think about it. Dale Carnegie. It's been my experience that you can nearly always enjoy things if you make up your mind firmly that you will. L.M. Montgomery. It's the moments that I stop just to be, rather than do, that have given me true happiness. Sir Richard Branson. Joy is a net of love by which you can catch souls. Mother Teresa. Judge nothing, you will be happy. Forgive everything, you will be happier. Love everything, you will be happiest. Sri Chinmoy. Just as a cautious businessman avoids investing all his capital in one concern, so wisdom would probably admonish us also not to anticipate all our happiness from one quarter alone. Sigmund Freud. Learn to enjoy every minute of your life. Be happy now. Don't wait for something outside of yourself to make you happy in the future. Think how really precious is the time you have to spend, whether it's at work or with your family. Every minute should be enjoyed and savored. Earl Nightingale. Learn to let go. That is the key to happiness. Buddha. Learn to value yourself, which means, fight for your happiness. Ayn Rand. Let us be grateful to people who make us happy, they are the charming gardeners who make our souls blossom. Marcel Proust. Love is that condition in which the happiness of another person is essential to your own. Robert A. Heinlein. Man is fond of counting his troubles, but he does not count his joys. If he counted them up as he ought to, he would see that every lot has enough happiness provided for it. Fyodor Dostoevsky. Many persons have a wrong idea of what constitutes true happiness. It is not attained through self-gratification but through fidelity to a worthy purpose. Helen Keller. Many things can make you miserable for weeks, few can bring you a whole day of happiness. Mignon McLaughlin. Most people would rather be certain they're miserable, than risk being happy. Robert Anthony. Most of us believe in trying to make other people happy only if they can be happy in ways which we approve. Robert S. Lind. Most people would rather be certain they're miserable, than risk being happy. Robert Anthony. My family didn't have a lot of money, and I'm grateful for that. Money is the longest route to happiness. Evangeline Lilly. No medicine cures what happiness cannot. Gabriel Garcia Marquez. No one is in control of your happiness but you, therefore, you have the power to change anything about yourself or your life that you want to change. Barbara DeAngelis. Nobody really cares if you're miserable, so you might as well be happy. Cynthia Nelms. Now and then it's good to pause in our pursuit of happiness and just be happy. Guillaume Apollinaire. On the whole, the happiest people seem to be those who have no particular cause for being happy except that they are so. William R. Inga. One joy scatters 100 griefs. Chinese proverb. Our capacity to draw happiness from aesthetic objects or material goods in fact seems critically dependent on our first satisfying a more important range of emotional or psychological needs, among them the need for understanding, for love, expression, and respect. Alain de Botton. People are unhappy when they get something too easily. You have to sweat, that's the only moral they know. Denis Lefourier. People should find happiness in the little things, like family. Amanda Bynes. Plenty of people miss their share of happiness, not because they never found it, but because they didn't stop to enjoy it. William Feather. Real happiness is cheap enough, yet how dearly we pay for its counterfeit. Hosea Ballou. Real happiness is not of temporary enjoyment, but is so interwoven with the future that it blesses forever. James Lendell Basford. Real happiness is cheap enough, yet how dearly we pay for its counterfeit. Sanity and happiness are an impossible combination. Mark Twain. So we shall let the reader answer this question for himself: who is the happier man, he who has braved the storm of life and lived, or he who has stayed securely on shore and merely existed? Hunter S. Thompson. Sometimes life knocks you on your ass. Get up, get up, get up. Happiness is not the absence of problems, it's the ability to deal with them. Steve Maraboli. Success is not the key to happiness. Happiness is the key to success. If you love what you are doing, you will be successful. Albert Schweitzer. Success is getting what you want, happiness is wanting what you get. W.P. Kinsella. The only way to find true happiness is to risk being completely cut open. Chuck Palahniuk. The fact is always obvious much too late, but the most singular difference between happiness and joy is that happiness is a solid and joy a liquid. J.D. Salinger. The foolish man seeks happiness in the distance, the wise grows it under his feet. James Oppenheim. The happiness of life is made up of the little charities of a kiss or smile, a kind look, a heartfelt compliment. Samuel Taylor Coleridge. The true secret of happiness lies in the taking a genuine interest in all the details of daily life. William Morris. The only way to avoid being miserable is not to have enough leisure to wonder whether you are happy or not. George Bernard Shaw. The world is full of people looking for spectacular happiness while they snub contentment. Doug Larson. The happiness which is lacking makes one think even the happiness one has unbearable. Joseph Roux. The foolish man seeks happiness in the distance, the wise grows it under his feet. James Oppenheim. The secret of happiness is freedom, the secret of freedom is courage. Carrie Jones. The secret of happiness is to find a congenial monotony. V.S. Pritchett. The essence of philosophy is that a man should so live that his happiness shall depend as little as possible on external things. Epictetus. The search for happiness is one of the chief sources of unhappiness. Eric Hoffer. The greatest happiness of life is the conviction that we are loved, loved for ourselves, or rather, loved in spite of ourselves. Victor Hugo. The greatest happiness you can have is knowing that you do not necessarily require happiness. William Saroyan. The habit of being happy enables one to be freed, or largely freed, from the domination of outward conditions. Robert Louis Stevenson. The Constitution only guarantees the American people the right to pursue happiness. You have to catch it yourself. Author unknown, commonly attributed to Benjamin Franklin. The best way to cheer yourself up is to try to cheer somebody else up. Mark Twain. The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. Marcus Aurelius. There are two things to aim at in life: first, to get what you want, and after that, to enjoy it. Only the wisest of mankind achieve the second. Logan Pearsall Smith. There is no happiness like that of being loved by your fellow creatures, and feeling that your presence is an addition to their comfort. Charlotte Bronte. There is only one happiness in this life: to love and be loved. George Sand. There can be no happiness if the things we believe in are different from the things we do. Freya Stark. There are two ways of being happy: we must either diminish our wants or augment our means. Either may do, the result is the same, and it is for each man to decide for himself and to do that which happens to be easier. Benjamin Franklin. There is no way to happiness, happiness is the way. Thich Nhat Hanh. There is no cosmetic for beauty like happiness. Lady Blessington. There is some kind of a sweet innocence in being human, in not having to be just happy or just sad, in the nature of being able to be both broken and whole, at the same time. C. Joy Bell C. Those who can laugh without cause have either found the true meaning of happiness or have gone stark raving mad. Norm Papernick. 3 grand essentials to happiness in this life are something to do, something to love, and something to hope for. Joseph Addison. To be without some of the things you want is an indispensable part of happiness. Bertrand Russell. To be happy, you must fancy that everything you have is a gift, and you the chosen, though you worked your tail off for every bit of it. Robert Brault. To enjoy good health, to bring true happiness to one's family, to bring peace to all, one must first discipline and control one's own mind. If a man can control his mind, he can find the way to enlightenment, and all wisdom and virtue will naturally come to him. Buddha. Too often in life, something happens and we blame other people for us not being happy or satisfied or fulfilled. So the point is, we all have choices, and we make the choice to accept people or situations or to not accept situations. Tom Brady. True happiness is not attained through self-gratification, but through fidelity to a worthy purpose. Helen Keller. Unquestionably, it is possible to do without happiness. It is done involuntarily by 19/20ths of mankind. John Stuart Mill. Ups and downs. Victories and defeats. Sadness and happiness. That's the best kind of life. Maxime Lagache. We all live with the objective of being happy, our lives are all different and yet the same. Anne Frank. We are no longer happy so soon as we wish to be happier. Walter Savage Landor. We can't control the world. We can only, barely, control our own reactions to it. Happiness is largely a choice, not a right or entitlement. David C. Hill. We tend to forget that happiness doesn't come as a result of getting something we don't have, but rather of recognizing and appreciating what we do have. Frederick Koenig. We cannot be happy if we expect to live all the time at the highest peak of intensity. Happiness is not a matter of intensity but of balance and order and rhythm and harmony. Thomas Merton. We have no more right to consume happiness without producing it than to consume wealth without producing it. George Bernard Shaw. When neither their property nor their honor is touched, the majority of men live content. Niccolo Machiavelli. Who is the happiest of men? He who values the merits of others, and in their pleasure takes joy, even as though it were his own. Johann Wolfgang von Goethe. Whoever is happy will make others happy. Anne Frank. You cannot protect yourself from sadness without protecting yourself from happiness. Jonathan Safran Foer. You don't develop courage by being happy in your relationships every day. You develop it by surviving difficult times and challenging adversity. Epicurus. You can't be happy unless you're unhappy sometimes. Lauren Oliver. You will never be happy if you continue to search for what happiness consists of. You will never live if you are looking for the meaning of life. Albert Camus. You can only have bliss if you don't chase it. Hennapala Gunaratana.